So CarMax just reported their earnings and they were horrible. So much so that right after they reported, their stock crashed by 15%. And see me, I'm a small used car dealer. I sell cars that are $5,000 and under. And I like to look at CarMax because they're the largest used car dealer here in the US. And I can look at their earnings reports. I can look at what they're saying on their earnings calls. I can go through the numbers, see where prices are going, see where inventory is going, see what their struggles are. And it really helps me as a small used car dealer to see where the car market is going. So we want to go through it and actually see, okay, do we need to be buying more inventory? Do we need to be getting rid of some of the inventory that we have because we feel like prices are going down? And CarMax can give us a lot of these clues if we actually go through their earnings, if we actually see what they're doing to navigate this car market. So one thing that's actually crazy to think about is when CarMax's stock basically crashed in an instant right after they reported these earnings. Well, their stock went down to a 5-year low. And this is something that we can see across the car market where, okay, even new car manufacturers, we see a lot of these new car franchise dealers that are really crying right now. Days of inventory is going up across the market. Used car dealers like myself, much weaker. I'm going to auctions, I'm seeing better prices. And what that tells me here in the market is that there's a lot of weakness. And I can even see it in my consumer. You saw it there on the hill. I sell cars that are $2,500, $3,000, $3,500. Even my consumer is weaker. The number one phone call we get each and every day. Hey, I have $500. Can you get me into this $4,000 car and can I finance the rest? Hey, what are payments like? No, we sell our cars cash. It's very difficult now for a lot of people to even scrape together $3,500. This is a big time weakness in our economy right now when people come to my lot and they can't even buy a $2,500 car. They have to finance it. Absolutely insane. So we can also look at CarMax for direction and where do they think that the market's going? Where do they think their business is going? And they pay lots of analysts, lots and lots of money to be able to figure out what the consumer is doing and where the car market is going. And one thing that they've decided that they're going to do is they're going to pause their share buybacks. And what does this say? Well, this says that, okay, we don't think that the environment's going to get better from here anytime soon. So we don't want to actually use that cash because we need to save that money in case things continue to get worse. And this is something that investors absolutely hate because when a company like CarMax will actually buy back their shares, well, it makes the share price go up for their shareholders. And when a company says, you know what, we probably don't need to do that right now, that's either saying one of two things. Either one, we know that our stock price is not going to go up anytime soon, so it's not a good investment. Or two, we know that we're going to need that cash here on the other side. And if things get worse, if things get really bad, that cash is going to come in really handy. And with a lot of defaults, with a lot of repos, with a lot of subprime lending that CarMax has done, and that's the type of customers that they deal with, well, you know what? They're going to need that cash because a lot of those customers aren't willing to pay and aren't going to be able to make their payments. And it becomes this massive domino effect in the car market where you have those consumers that can't make their car payments. Well, in a lot of cases, they lose their cars. They have to buy another car. Yeah, that's right. But when their credit scores tank, then they can't get into another loan. So they can't go back to CarMax and buy another car after they get their car repoed by CarMax. So what do they have to do? They have to come to a small used car dealership like myself. They can scrape up $2,500, $3,000. That's what they have to do. I see a lot of customers that come through my door saying, okay, I just lost my car, but I got $3,000. What can you get me in? I can't make a car payment anymore, and I have to be able to own my car because I just can't. I got to have something to go to work, and I can't risk losing my car. So what kind of cheap car you got out here that you can put me in until I get to my next financial situation? One thing that analysts actually pointed out from CarMax this quarter is that they're losing market share. And the reason that they said that they're losing market share is because their prices are too freaking high. This is what they said. This seems like an obvious thing, right? But then you have Carvana, who seemingly is knocking the cover off the ball, where their stock price hasn't acted anywhere near what we've seen the demise of CarMax here as of late. And so what's the disconnect? Because you go on Carvana, you look at their prices are through the moon too. Well, it's a different business model. You're having Carvana that's adding all this ease, and you're having people buy cars from Carvana and signing up for easy loans that Carvana is able to write to these consumers. Click, car gets delivered. CarMax, model is a little bit different, where they actually still have to physically go to the store. Now CarMax is trying to transition to a model where there's more of an online interface, where consumers can actually buy and make it a little bit easier for them. But that's not their overall thing. They have all of this footprint. They have all of these dealerships everywhere across the U.S. So it's going to be a big time struggle. And this is one of the big reasons why they got rid of their last CEO. They have a new regime, and the new regime is tasked with, okay, we have this model that's broken right now. We can see it in our numbers. We can see that consumers are not wanting this model anymore. And that's even, I mean, for a car dealership like myself, I believe in like 10 years, like stuff like this, we're not going to exist anymore. I mean, it's going to be a completely different model. The car industry is broken. It's been broken for a very long time, and now we're seeing that people are actually saying no to the standard model of what you're used to. And that's why you see a bunch of car buying services that pop up, and I've been very successful. It's just people do not want to deal with the car market and dealerships like they exist today. This is why Carvana is a disruptor, and that's why they've been successful. There's some other things going on behind the scenes. We'll talk about that in a second. But this is CarMax's model. It's not here to last. They're going to have to change, and that's why they've been changing things, especially at the top right now. So let's touch now with Carvana. So I know we're talking about the car market as it relates to CarMax, but you see a company like Carvana, which looks like they're thriving, right? Well, there's some nuance behind the scenes there. So CarMax's model is they buy cars cheaply from consumers, they sell them, and they can also make money on financing products, things of that nature on the back end. Yep, easy. It's been done for however long cars have actually existed to be able to sell through dealerships. Now Carvana has come in and actually flipped the script a little bit, where they can still make lots and lots of money actually buying and selling cars, making that spread. And then they sell products on the back end. They sell their financing. They actually get consumers in loans. But we have some weird connection between the family who owns a large portion of Carvana and who they actually sell their loans to. So in a lot of cases, Carvana will actually sell lots and lots and lots of loans that may or may not be the best loans that maybe banks would not necessarily want to buy, but they're able to sell them to another company like Bridgecrest or DriveTime, who is owned by the Garcia family, who also has this massive vested interest in Carvana. So what we can see is happening here is that, okay, Carvana might write a bunch of, in my opinion, bad loans, and then they sell them for an extremely high price to Bridgecrest DriveTime, who's owned by the Garcia family, in my opinion. They are owned by that, but all of this is happening, in my opinion, is what it looks like on paper. And they're able to inflate their stock price by showing profits from all these loans that they're showing. Stock price goes up, and then the Garcia family, they'll sell stock, and then they'll buy more loans. And then they'll sell the loans, stock goes up, they'll buy more loans, sell more loans, buy more loans, sell more stock. You see how the things are going. It looks bad on face value, but this is a different model than what CarMax is able to do. CarMax, the way that they survive is by buying and selling cars and making their money that way. The way Carvana is able to make their money is by selling loans, not cars. The cars are just attached to the loan. They want to sell the loan. They don't care about the cars. Sell the loans, and then they sell the loans in a package to someone else, which just happens to have a vested interest in both places. You see where I'm going here. This is Carvana's model right now. So now here's where it gets a little bit more interesting. So the price of CarMax's cars have actually gone down per unit. They have dropped their prices. And when that happens, typically what should happen is your volume actually goes up. Prices go down, volume should go up. You increase demand on your car dealership because your prices are cheaper, right? So what ended up happening is their profit per unit went down $207 to $2,100 ish, and that's a profit drop of about 10%. That's significant. But their number of vehicles sold all along while they're dropping these prices is also going down. So I can give you some examples here at my car dealership. Whenever we want to move some aged inventory, and really from the way that we price our cars is we initially actually price a car to hit a home run. A home run for us is right around $1,500 that will make profit. So just, I don't know what we got in this Jeep, but there's a Jeep with a Compass right here. We got $4,000 on it. If we initially just put this car out, we probably would have somewhere around $2,500 in it. If we do that, try to price it at $4,000 and try to hit that home run, that $1,500. A lot of car dealers make a lot more than that, but for us, $1,500 is good. We do volume. And if no one looks at it, if we don't get a lot of test drives, if we don't sell it in 2 weeks, then we'll drop by $500 because I want to sell cars and I want to not have them here longer than about 4 weeks. And if no one buys it at that $3,500 price point, goes through another 2 weeks, well, I drop it another $500. I want to drop prices to incentivize consumers to come buy our cars. Whenever we drop prices, people will buy more vehicles. That's what we see here at just a small scale used car lot. We sell cars $5,000 and under. The lower that our prices are on average on our dealership, the more cars that we will sell. CarMax is trying to do this. They're doing it in a very slow way because they have a massive operation. They can't just go through and slash prices by 20% and try to liquidate a lot of product when maybe 10% was the number. So they have to probably drop it by 5%, see what happens, drop it by 10%, see what happens, drop it by 15%, see what happens. We're starting to see them actually take action to do that kind of thing, but with a massive operation, 1 percentage point with the inventory that they have equates to massive amounts of money. So they have to actually do it slow to find that right price point. They can't just liquidate a bunch of inventory and drop it by 10% when maybe 6% was the number, because that spread between that 6% and that 10%. Tons of money. So it's a very difficult situation that CarMax has put themselves in, where their prices were way too high, and now they have to find that number as they slowly go down. And in a downtrending market, in the car market, well, they might just be continually chasing the market. So if they lower by 5% every month to try to find that price point, well, the market might have already dropped by 6, 7, 8%, and they end up that they're incorrectly priced. I do not envy what management has to deal with over at CarMax right now. And I can tell you, for me, the biggest issues that I'm running into right now, and really it's all the time as a small used car dealer, it's inventory. It's always inventory. Do we have too much inventory? Do we have not enough inventory? Is it the right kind of inventory at the auctions? Okay, well, are we loading up for seasonally high times? Are we trying to limit what we're buying because we have too many cars on our lot? And it seems like it's an accordion thing that I'm dealing with at all times of the year. And there's never just the perfect. I've never experienced where I just have, okay, I feel like I have the perfect amount of inventory. We're selling the right amount of cars. And it seems like as I progress throughout the years, it gets more difficult, and it really shouldn't be, because I haven't grown my business and I haven't wanted to. I mean, you grow a business and have to hire more people. I'm content with the amount of money that we're able to make with the operation that we have, but it always seems like inventory becomes more of a struggle. And our biggest struggle right now is the type of inventory, where our inventory is coming from, and being able to buy enough of it. Because right now, a lot of these new car dealers, as you see, even with CarMax's numbers that we talked about throughout this whole video, the car market's slow. Like, these franchise dealers, they're not able to buy. I mean, they're not able to sell as many cars as they're really wanting to. And if that happens, well, then trade-ins aren't happening. And when trade-ins don't happen, you get stuff like this where we go to these auctions and there's just not enough cars to satisfy the demand from all these small used car dealers that are trying to buy cars just like I am. So prices can remain stubbornly high, and even if the prices are high, we might go buy a car that we think is a good deal, or we might have to pay just whatever the market price is for those vehicles, and we get it here to our dealership, and people just can't buy it. So it doesn't matter if we're able to buy a lot of cars. If we pay in too much money for them, then we can actually end up breaking even or losing money on some of these cars. So this is the struggle that I'm dealing with right now. The level of inventory, the quality of inventory, and it seems worse right now than we've really ever experienced. Throw out into middle of 2021 to the beginning of 22, that was probably the worst that I've had to deal with, just because of all the shortages. But we're getting to a place now where consumers are holding on to their good cars. They're not going to go buy a brand new car. They're not signing up for that $800 to $1,000 car month payment if they have a good running car. So the cars that are making their way to the auctions, they're not in the best quality, and we still have to pay a very high premium for vehicles that are going through the auction. So that's something that we're going to monitor going forward, and this is why we like to look at companies like CarMax, Carvana, see what they're doing, if they're increasing inventory, if they're lowering their prices, what kind of things they're doing, so I can figure out what I need to do here at my small used car dealership, because I mean, I'm not backed by a lot of shareholders. I can't get a bunch of crazy debt that can get me out of a hole if I need to. So I got to make sure I'm making the safest plays now for not just me, but I have multiple families that I'm supporting with the decisions that I'm making. It's a very scary place to be, and this is why we do what we do, and we look at the information that we look at, because I want to make sure that I'm not only making the right decisions so I can make money, but that I can also employ the people that work here.